Hey loves! Happy day! Happy day! How's everybody doing today? I hope indeed you're having a happy day. I'm having a happy day. I had a wonderful day. Today was day 2 of the full-time purpose community challenge with Aaron. I don't know how to say his name. Doty? Doherty? Ugh, I need to learn to say that right. But he's on Facebook, and then Victor Odo. They're fabulous and really have me inspired. And today's extra credit was to make a video. And so that's what I'm going to do. Today, the topic is centered around some not so happy things, mental health, depression, schizophrenia, multiple personality or dissociative identity disorder, anxiety, ADHD, borderline personality disorder, bipolar, all of these things are very, very serious experiences. And I know that from my own experience going through the mental health system myself. I have lots of videos on my mental health experience. So go back through my channel and, get caught up on it. But long story short, I'm in recovery from drugs and alcohol. I've overcome homelessness. I've overcome, traumatic childhood with physical abuse, sexual abuse. I mean, all of the things. I ended up in the mental health system when I was 8 years old because my mom didn't know what to do with me. And she was mentally ill herself, and that's a very common thing that parents who have mental illness, it oftentimes their children end up with mental illness. And I think that that's for a lot of reasons, and those reasons we're going to explore today. So I hope that you're ready. I actually even took notes. I'm ready for this, guys. I'm ready for this live. Okay. This is a really important topic for me, and I'm realizing as I do more videos on my channel, mental health is probably the most important thing to me, because if we don't have mental health, then everything just falls in the shitter. And what we don't realize is how malleable we are, our psyche and our subconscious, how easy it is to take a suggestion and take that on as truth. And so I want to preface that I am not a doctor. This is just my experience. I am not advocating for anybody to stop medication or stop seeing their doctors or anything like that. Please, this is just my experience. And I just want to bring some things to light. And if it resonates with you, I would love to talk to you more. I would love to, help you. I'd like to help you help yourself. Step out of the box and find yourself. Because I think a lot of what is happening, especially, I mean, always, but especially right now with what's going on in our current reality, with everybody being isolated, is we are having a spiritual awakening. We are absolutely having a spiritual awakening. And from a science standpoint, it shows the vibration of the planet is shifting. Our planet is moving into a part of space, that it hasn't been in, however 1,000 years. The Schumann resonance is all over the place. And then I know that you can feel it in your own life. And you can look in the world of shenanigans and see that something is going on. Something big is going on. And I feel like we do a great disservice when we don't look at all the possibilities of an experience. When we pigeonhole ourselves into, oh, I don't fit into this box. Oh, I'm having these very uncomfortable and sometimes very dangerous mental health experiences. I must be mentally ill. And unfortunately, that's just what happens. And I wanted to throw some statistics out there. I did a bit of research, and it's kind of sad. So for 47.1 million people in the US are living with mental health conditions. And that's a 1.5 million increase over last year's report. And obviously, we know why. We are social creatures. We are not meant to be isolated. We are being bombarded. Oh, if you watch news, please stop. I do advocate for that. Please stop. And go outside and play and have some fun. My cat is going to be meowing. I hope my kids let him in. And oh yay, thank you so much. And so, we know why the mental health crisis is going up, because people are having to deal with death. They're having to deal with, I myself, my dad died in March of, my daddy died in March of 2019. Like, I got home from his funeral, and the next day we were in isolation for the first time. And so not only are we dealing with death, but we're dealing with it in isolation, away from our support system. We are being, cut off from things that keep us human, And as much as we may want to use it as an opportunity to go within and elevate our consciousness, which I hope that's what you're doing. That's what I've been focusing on doing. Lots of meditating, lots of praying, getting, just taking care of my body, taking the time to get to know myself better. As much as that's great, we're also not meant to be isolated. Not only that, but having our faces covered, is really traumatic for a lot of us. Psychologically, it does things, not seeing other people's full faces. So, people having to deal with being sick, jobs being lost, homes being lost. There's tons and tons and tons of reasons for people to be dealing with mental health conditions right now, which is why I think it's so important for me to make this video. It's also going to wrap up and explain some of my previous videos where I talk about having dissociative identity disorder. I'm going to get into that a little bit later, so stay tuned. So 4.7 million people, right? And this is according to disturbmenot.com. In America, 1 out of 5 adults suffer from mental illness, but around 60% of them don't receive treatment. And treatment, again, can look different to different people. For me, my treatment, first and foremost, is self-care and self-love and spiritual attention, raising my vibration, taking personal accountability for my life and my actions. A lot of us, we end up in the mental health system, and we take on the indoctrination that there's nothing we can do about it other than to take these pills and these drugs. In my experience, the mental health institutions, which I've been in psych wards multiple times, they weren't having us get up and do yoga and meditation every day. You know, it was slamming the door open after you're sleeping on a mat that's like this, on a plastic like pillow, you know, and then take these meds and then go sit down and be quiet. Maybe you would get, if you were in a good psych ward, maybe you would get a group counseling session. But I only had that one out of the 5 psych wards that I had been admitted to. I had a thing after I had my kids. I went into a postpartum psychosis, which was really just my spiritual awakening. Like, that's when shit really hit the fan, but I didn't know that then. And I didn't know that what was happening was the veil had been, lifted a bit, and I was walking between the physical waking world that everyone else sees and the spiritual world and the energy world. And both were so real to me. And I was afraid that I was going to lose the ability to tell the difference between what was real and what isn't. Now I realize it is all real, and but during that time, since I didn't, I thought my children were going to have to raise their mother. And having a mentally ill mother that I had to help raise, it was traumatic. And I didn't want to traumatize my children. So in my mind, I needed to kill myself to be a good mom. And so I would attempt suicide over and over and over again, half-heartedly. I would overdose and, come back. I did die one time and they brought me back with the paddles. But the thing was, I didn't want to die. I just didn't know how to live. I had no coping skills, and I was being told by the mental health system that I was broken and I was sick and I needed to take these drugs, and these drugs oftentimes made it worse. And it was just, back then they did electric shock therapy. They wanted me to do electric shock therapy. It was just a hot mess, So I attempted suicide 6 times, succeeding once, and they brought me back, and I was pissed. I was pissed off. But now I am so grateful. Oh, I am so grateful that it didn't work and that they brought me back, because I have built a life that I love living. I don't take medications anymore. And I of course I deal with, sadness and I deal with anxiety still, but all manageable as long as I do these certain things, which I think I'm going to do another video about, certain things, what I do to help keep myself, at an even keel. So, let's see, what was I? Okay. So a lot of people don't receive treatment, and a lot of people don't receive treatment for a lot of different reasons. And treatment, like I was saying, can look different for everybody, and different things are healing at certain times, at different times. So, at some point, maybe taking the antidepressants was healing for me, because maybe I needed to give myself that break so I could level out and get my life. I cleaned up and got sober, and, I don't know, would I have been able to do that if I hadn't used the antidepressants? But as I continued to heal, the antidepressants no longer were healing. They were a hindrance. And so I found other things like meditation and yoga and coping skills to help. 80, okay, wait. Young people from the LGBTQ plus population are 2.5 times more likely to experience symptoms of depression or anxiety, or have problems with substance abuse. Mental illness statistics in the US show that 56% of Americans don't receive mental health treatment when they need it, often because they don't have access to mental health care. And that's a big thing too. You know, our state-run mental health is not really geared towards mental health. But that's a whole other video. 14.9% of children aged 4 and under whose parents had poor mental health developed disorders themselves. Women are more likely to experience depression during their lifetime than men. But I want to say, is that true? Because if you look at the suicide statistics, men have 3.9 times higher rates of suicide. So what I think it is that for men, they've just been, and I see it with my own children, the way the world comes at my boys. I have a 13 and a 15-year-old. They're told they're not allowed to be vulnerable. This is changing. I'm really grateful to see this changing, and I'm grateful to be a part of this change. However, unfortunately, it still is a big thing where men aren't encouraged to feel their feelings. Men aren't encouraged to be vulnerable. Men aren't encouraged to ask for help the way women are. So I think that statistic is a little skewed. The National Institute of Mental Health, talking about suicide, according to the CDC and prevention, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death overall in the United States, claiming the lives of 47,500 people in just 2019 alone. Suicide was the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34. And the fourth leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 35 and 44. 10! Guys, my kids had a friend that was 11 and attempted suicide. Our youth, what they're going through right now, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what it feels like being a kid going through this. So there's plenty statistics that really convey that mental health is a big deal, right? And so what can we do about it? What can we do about it? What can we do about it when our healthcare, our mental health care system is in shambles? When we're having to deal with things, way out of the norm, and when we're isolated, what can we do? And what is mental illness anyway? And from my experience, it was really a spiritual awakening. And in my experience, the more that I tried to deny the spiritual experience, the more intense it got. The more that I took on the indoctrination that there was something wrong with me, that I was sick, that in some cases I was bad, that I was a burden, that there wasn't going to be a cure, the more I wanted to leave my body. The more I wanted to leave my body, the more traumatic it was to be here, and the more I was depressed, and the more, mental health issues. Speaking of, depression, anxiety, and things like this. So I want to encourage you to look into what are your beliefs about your mental health. Do you believe that you're not going to get better? Do you believe that you're broken? Because these things are not true. You can get better. Let me tell you right now, you can get better. I got better. I am so much better right now that I just thank the universe every dang day that I didn't die. The more I ran from the spiritual experience, the more I dove into drugs and alcohol to escape the fact that I was having this experience. And it got to the point where I was on 9 different antipsychotics. Like I said, after I had my boys, I went into first postpartum depression and then postpartum psychosis. And I have other videos going into detail about what that was like. And they worked me all the way up to wanting to do electric shock therapy. And that was when I was kind of like, whoa, this is getting way out of hand. And I started to look at some other things going on. And I found an article about a tribe in Africa, and they see these mental health issues as a spiritual awakening. And it was just like, oh, well, I've done the thing where I believed the doctors that I was sick and there was something wrong with my brain and blah, blah, blah. I wonder what would happen in my life if I chose to believe that this was a spiritual experience, and if I started to come at it from a spiritual way. And I'm not talking about Jesus. Like, Jesus is great. I love me some Jesus, but I'm not talking about religion. Okay? Let me preface that. I'm not talking about religion. And not to say that if you follow Jesus that you're religious. Anyway, I'm talking about real tangible, like, physics, like raising our vibration, and the when we are meant to begin raising our vibration and we resist it, the experience is going to get harder and harder and harder until you're going to shift up or you're going to shift out. Especially right now, what's going on in the planet, we're bringing massive amounts of light into the planet, and that's just what's going to happen. You're either going to shift up or you're going to develop some sort of disease and leave that way, or kill yourself, or you're going to leave your body. Because some people, that's the fastest way for them to bring light into the planet, is to shift out of their body. That it would be too much work for them to do all of the emotional and spiritual work to raise their vibration. And so they choose instead, I'm going to bring in the light by leaving my body. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's what my dad chose to do. And I focus on gratitude that he brought in light in the way that he saw it. he died from cancer. And so, and that's the other thing is not just mental illness, but these physical diseases are also spiritual maladies. They all have an emotional and a spiritual, a vibrational root. And when we can understand that and understand and ourselves grace and mercy, that there's nothing wrong with us. We're actually having a really beautiful, wonderful experience to level the fuck up, right? And it's not easy, especially when you don't know what's going on and you don't know what's out there. So what did it look like for me? Once I started to be open to the idea, like, okay, well, what if this is a spiritual experience? Because in the village in Africa, they would take people in who were severely schizophrenic, severely dealing with multiple personality disorders, bipolar disorders, all of those things. They would take them in and they would assign them, a person. And they would stay in the tribe with this person for however long it took, 4 years, doesn't matter, however long it took. And this mentor would walk them through dealing with all these energies that are coming in. Because when you wake up, especially if you wake up like I woke up fast, like I had always had, depression and stuff as a kid, but man, it ramped up whenever I brought my kids into my body. And I think that's makes sense. As a light worker, the children I have are going to be light workers. So they brought light into my body, raising my vibration. And that shift in my vibration was visceral and terrifying. And because I didn't have a mentor or anyone sitting there with me saying, hey, you're okay. I know this is scary. And it is. I know this is scary and you're okay. And being taught the tools that I have now of cleansing, energy cleansing, learn energy cleansing, cleanse yourself every day, call your fragments back to yourself, protection, grounding. These are very simple things that if the mental health community was really about mental health, they would be teaching us these things. It used to blow my mind that I would go to, I was on Medicaid because I was homeless most of my life. And I would go into these state, offices to get my medication. And I would be sitting there and the walls are jailbird blue. They've got news playing. Everybody's grumpy. There's nothing positive to read. And yet we're supposed to believe that they're interested in our mental health. I was sat there and I was like, something doesn't feel right about this. Something is a little off. And even, I was like, even where I am, I know that taking more drugs, what that did was it shut me off from the guidance of my spirit. That's what it did. And at one point, again, the antidepressants helped because the spirits coming in, the energy coming in, because for some people it's not spirits, I just happen to be psychic or have psychic abilities. I got superpowers. And so for me, I was dealing with actual entities. And that's the other thing. A lot of the schizophrenia that we're dealing with, they're dealing with spiritual experiences of having entities either attached to their body or trying to come into their body. Sometimes we're having an entity come in to try to help us, and it's overwhelming. Sometimes we have entities coming in because the way it is if you're a light worker, you're here to do energy work and emotional transmutation. If you are a light worker, then all the spirit realm, all the energy, they can see that you are a beacon. So you will attract this negative energy. You will attract these entities that are going to try to shut your shit down. And so that's what I was dealing with, and so for me, I first started working on, I got sober. Like, mental health, listen, I hate to tell you, because I know for me, it was my best friend. Alcohol and drugs got me through so much. I'm grateful for when I had them, and I'm grateful that they're no longer what I reach out to. You are not going to be able to find homeostasis if you are doing drugs and alcohol. I'm sorry. I know it's fun, but it's not helpful. And really what it is you're trying to, you are overwhelmed by the energy experience. It is sometimes even physically painful, and it's self-medicating. We don't have the coping skills. We don't have the mentors to deal with the incoming energy. And so we do drugs and alcohol to shut it down. And so when we can learn, really some simple skills like grounding your energy, okay, get sober, ground your energy. I did AA. That's how I did it. I did AA and I did CODA, which is Codependency Anonymous. AA helped me get sober. CODA helped me build my relationships back up, and my own relationship with myself. And when my own relationship with myself got better, everything else falls into line when you do that. So grounding our energy, okay? Not just grounding, but attaching to the light also. There's a grounding, and then there's also an attachment to the light, to source. Source is really within you, okay? The source of everything is within each of us. This is just a projection. I think we all know this by now. I hope that we all know this. And then also protecting your energy, learning how to cleanse your energy, learning how to don't be afraid of these entities. If you're in an experience with schizophrenia, or if you're in an experience with dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality disorder, I know it's scary from my own experience, but don't be afraid of leaning into the idea that, oh, maybe I'm dealing with entities, because you have power. They want you to think you don't have power, but you have power. And I'll even go as far as to say that the mental health industry is an entity trying to take your power. And I know that may be a controversial thing to say. And again, I'm not a doctor. Please, you follow your own heart, okay? And if you do feel like, oh, I want to look into this more as a spiritual awakening, find a mentor who's gone through it. Reach out to me, and find someone to walk you through it. Don't go through it alone, because it can be dangerous. So I started to learn how to do those things first. I just started to learn how to ground my energy, how to protect my energy. I went to other healers. I went to people that I felt called to and had them pull energies off of me. I worked on my childhood trauma. That's just part of it. A lot of us have incarnated into Earth at this time so that we can transmute all of our families and our ancestors' bullshit, all of the darkness, okay? We are light workers. We have come here to work with the light. And what happens is we incarnate. I bet if you're watching this, you're the scapegoat of the family. You don't fit in. You're the weird one. And so well, dang it, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, so realizing that it's us coming in so that we literally like take on all the trauma, all the sins of the world, okay? I don't believe in sins, but this is what keeps coming through. We come and we take on the sins of our family, the darkness of our family, the pain of our family, all the ancestral trauma, all the abuse, because we are so powerful. You are so powerful. You are so powerful beyond belief, beyond what you believe. You are magical and you are powerful, and you have the ability to change your life. I promise, I promise, I promise. It's okay if you don't believe it yet. Just take baby steps. Baby steps are still steps. And as you go, you'll see more and more and more and more. Just take the first step, learn to ground your energy. Learn to protect yourself. Have someone do some spiritual cleansing for you. I'm open for sessions. Reach out. So we take on all of this pain and we become the wounded warrior. And we go through all of this shit and all this turmoil and all of this ickiness. And then eventually at some point, we're going to wake up. And some of us wake up slower than others. Mine was like a 2x4 in the face. I just bam, woke up. And then we've got to go through the process, and it looks different for everybody, but going through our childhood shit, we've got to reparent ourselves. A lot of us, we didn't have parents that could teach us how do I deal with my anger? How do I deal with these big emotions and these big feelings? A lot of us don't realize that we are feeling our ancestors and taking on all of that trauma. We don't realize we are empaths, and we take on other people's feelings, other people's stories, and we make them our own. And then we tell ourselves that, oh, this is me and there's something wrong with me. A lot of us, in my personal experience, was that I didn't realize that I was psychic. I didn't realize that I was communicating with spirit. I didn't realize that I was picking up on other people's emotions. I didn't know this. And so when I heard these thoughts, when I heard these feelings, I thought it was me. And it didn't feel like me, but where else would it come from? And so I understand that just because you're feeling something doesn't mean it's yours. And that was like, what? What? Just because I'm feeling something doesn't mean it's mine. And so learning how to recognize, oh, is this actually me? Or am I picking up on something else, you know? So understand that if you're schizophrenic, you may be working in the spirit realm. And unfortunately, there's some shitty fucking spirits that they do shitty shit just like humans do, you know? I mean, it's the same thing, just in a different vibration. So, if you are in that experience where you're dealing with emotional warfare, I send you my love, and I just want to take a moment to watch you wrapped in the love of the universe. Okay, there is a way out. Don't give up on yourself. Please don't give up on yourself. You are a miracle. And you can do this. Also, another thing that we don't realize is we're working on multiple timelines. Some of us are aware of it, some of us are not. And so in one physical life, okay, we're getting into quantum physics here. And this isn't spiritual, this is actual science. We're working on multiple timelines. There's multiple dimensions, there's multiple realities. And so in my case, I won't say all, but in my case, what was happening where I thought I had multiple personality, because there were certain little, I checked the box. I had confusion and time loss. I also had Lyme disease and, glyphosate poisoning and parasites. So, which those are also, the root is still emotional and spiritual. And so I'm going to show you guys this book. Y'all need to get this book. Okay. Oh, yay. John. Oh, well, then let's talk more, sweetheart. And please get this book, Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose. So, and I'm also a theta practitioner, which is similar to metaphysical anatomy. And it's basically working with the, you start with a physical ailment. Mine was Lyme disease. That's what showed up for me. And so using this book, I looked up Lyme disease. Well, Lyme disease is a parasite, bacteria, and a virus. Viruses, the emotional root, one of them is poor personal boundaries. Giving too much. You're giving too much, and you're giving from an empty cup. So I went through, I did my research, I found the emotional root of these physical symptoms. Depression, anxiety, all of these have an emotional, spiritual root. And so when I just started, okay, well, what happens? Like, use yourself as an experiment. This is your life. Again, viruses and things like this, they happen because we've given our power away. Narcissist, John, Yes, so many of us light workers are dealing with narcissists. Again, it's the same thing as like the spirit world. You are a light and you are a beacon, and there are people who are devoid of themselves, and so they will attach on to your light because it's how they get their power, because they're not self-generating their own power. So it makes sense that you attract them. You're a light. And you're going, so I would suggest for you, Coda. You don't have to go to meetings or anything. You know, go to codependency, what is it? Codependencyanonymous.org. I don't know. If you go into a search engine, preferably not Google, and do a search for Codependency Anonymous, you'll get that. And doing the steps of Coda helped me get rid of these narcissists. I don't have narcissists in my life anymore. And I was surrounded by them. Oh my God. And the more I had them around me, the sicker I got. My mother was a narcissist and an abuser. So you can heal. You can heal. And now I have very happy, healthy relationships. It comes down to boundaries and self-worth. And we overgive oftentimes, and it's usually when we are not the narcissist, we are kind, gentle, and sweet, loving people. Well, okay, so John, I'm gonna call you on some shit here. You said you have no choice, right? You have no choice but to interact with them. But that statement in and of itself, I have no choice. You are speaking into existence. Okay? Words are vibration. We create our reality. So this is a big part of my spiritual awakening, was learning that I speak into existence my life. And really, so there's check out Abraham Hicks. Through Abraham Hicks, I learned how to reprogram the way I spoke. When I reprogrammed the way I spoke, it reprogrammed my brain, and then it changed everything. The language that we use regularly in society just is constructed in a way that we give our power away. It gives our power away. And so I would say that was one of the most exhausting things about the spiritual awakening, if I could say, because it took constant diligence, I had to pay attention to every thought and every word, but for me, I was just really serious. I was just really serious. And so I challenge you to work with your language, and maybe it's just for you right now as simple as saying, and say, instead of saying, I have no choice, I'm not picking on you, I love you, I'm so grateful that you're interacting with me right now, thank you. Maybe shifting it into saying, I look forward to having emotionally healthier people around me. And just a tiny little tweak. Like, say it out loud. You can feel the difference. You'll feel it right here. Say, I have no choice, blah, 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 blah. Feel that. I really look forward to being around and attracting more emotionally healthy people. Right? Like, one thought is going to feel better than the other. That's one of my techniques. I try on my thoughts like I try on an outfit. I try it on, I say it out loud, I say, okay, that's how that feels. And then, well, what's the opposite? Or what's just one step out from that I could do? And like in this case, what I just said, and it'll feel just a tiny bit better. Sometimes it feels just a whole shit ton better, but baby steps are still steps, So our wording is huge and crucial. So finding the emotional root of these, and John, if you want to email me, metaphysicalmisfit@gmail.com, I would love to talk more with you, and be of service. It would be an honor. Finding the emotional root of what's going on, and then just step by step, just one at a time, doing these tiny little things, and studying, how do I raise my vibration? What does that look like? And not everything has to change at once. In all actuality, it's better to go slow, because if you change everything at once, then everything around you is going to change. And that can be a little overwhelming also. So little steps, pick something that resonates with you. What do you want to work on? Do you want to do yoga every day? Do you want to meditate for 5 minutes a day, and build your way up? Do you want to look at the emotional root of something and work on that with a mentor or with yourself? There's lots of ways. Do I want to remove toxic food from my diet? Do I want to start to use herbs instead of pharmaceuticals? There's lots of little things that we can do to raise our vibration. And in my experience, as I raised my vibration, my experience with the mental health got less and less. Well, not my experience with mental health. My experience with mental health got better and better and better. The experience with illness decreased dramatically until the last little bit that I had was I thought I had multiple personalities. And what I realized, as I was saying earlier, was what was really going on was I work on multiple timelines in one life. And so in one timeline, I may have been a man that, dealt with some shit. In another life, maybe I was a witch that was, murdered, or not life, but, in different timelines, because everything is now, but this gets kind of, convoluted. And so when I shifted from, I'm mentally ill, I have multiple personalities, I don't have control over this happened to me because I'm so damaged and I'm broken and my brain, fragmented. When I shifted into, okay, I'm dealing with multiple realities at once, and they are all real, and they all deserve my attention, my full attention, to work on these issues. And I started to look at, so this is coming up, and this is where I feel pulled. So I'm going to allow myself the freedom to be that, to do that, to dive into it, and to heal whatever is coming up to be healed, and then when it shifts, then I shift with grace and ease, and I deal with what's coming up and what I'm healing, and transmute what needs to be healed on that timeline, and I hope I'm making sense with that, because that really changed my life. And when I sunk into that reality, that's what was going on, that's when my superpowers really kicked in. That's when I've started to have actual psychic experiences, premonitions. I channel a collective called Sophia, and really bringing through things that are really out of this world, literally, and amazing and helpful. And my rule is, if it's not of love, then it's not mine. If it's not of love, then it's not from my guides. We're only going to be guided towards love. And oh, hey, Betsy! Oh, yay! Thank you for being here, my love. Betsy has been a friend of mine for a while. She has seen my story. How do I know what I'm really channeling? So this was the process. I'm gonna make a video just about that, because I'm already almost at an hour. I want to be respectful of everybody's uh, time. But if you hit like and subscribe, and their little bell thing, it'll notify you when I go live. I really would like to do a video every day. I really would like to do a video every day. I get tapped out from being on technology, and I'm in school right now, and I'm learning the business part of the Healy. This is one of the tools I use, the Healy. It is a quantum wellness device, and it helps level the vibration and frequency of my body, of my energy field, of my organs. I use it to help me deal with Lyme disease symptoms. It's amazing. It has so much. I'll make another video. Maybe there I have 3 new videos that I can make. So I'm gonna try to do it every day. I'm gonna try to get on every day. So no, I don't take NAC, but I've heard of it. I used to take a lot of stuff, and I don't have to take a lot of stuff anymore. That's the wonderful thing about raising our vibration. As we raise our vibration, we really need less and less of something outside of ourselves to bring ourselves to center. That's been an amazing experience that I've had. Pine needle tea is amazing. There's so much goodness, and I love that all of this stuff about herbs and natural medicine. I saw that you're eating a healthy diet. John, that's amazing. That's wonderful. And I would really love if you would join my live, and I'll talk to you and everybody more about how do I know what I'm channeling, and what was that experience like going from I have multiple personalities to I'm channeling. But my main thing that I will tell you is, when I first started realizing that I was channeling with a community or collective outside of myself, I thought, oh, well, surely I have schizophrenia. And I was assured that that's not what it was from my guys. And I said, well, how do I know that I can trust this? How do I know? And the rule was, if it's anything other than love, if it leads you towards hurting yourself, hurting another human being, first love for yourself. Okay? First love for yourself, because if we're used to dealing with narcissists, our idea of love is going to be pretty twisted. And we're going to think, oh, well, I have to love them, even if it means putting myself last. Nope. No. You must put yourself first. You must. Like in the airplane, when they tell you, like, oh, if in a case of an emergency, the thing drops down, put it on yourself first, and then you put it on your child, right? If you go the other way around, you're not going to make it. So if it's anything other than love, it is not from spirit. Okay, not from your positive guides. I saw that you're dealing with demonic entities. Yes, there is I've seen demonic entities for sure in this creepy area in Florida. Where are you in Florida? I am in Florida. I'm in Orlando. There's lots of, I grew up in Frederick, Maryland, which was during the, not during, I'm not that old, but the Battle of Gettysburg, and there's, all these abandoned buildings. And that's when I first started having my experiences with spirit, was running into demonic activity and spirits from war and things like that. So that's why it's so important to know how to protect ourselves, ground your energy, anchor it in love, and understand that if you're hearing things that are not of love, then it's, it doesn't mean that it's you. And so a big practice that I do at the end of every night is I see in my heart like this little light bulb, right? And I inside, I click it, I turn it on, and boom, my body just boom fills with light, just like from head to toe, boom. And then it goes outside my body, and it's just this beautiful, beautiful golden, sparkly, and sometimes blue, ultraviolet light. And I just, anything that isn't of love is no longer welcome here. Anything that is no longer serving me is no longer welcome here. I ground my energy. I see my feet grow little roots into the earth. I ground my energy. I put a bubble around me to protect myself, and I call my fragments back to myself. Because what happens, especially as empaths, we will leave little pieces of ourselves with someone who we know is hurting. We'll leave an energy with them because we know that we make people feel better. So we'll leave a piece of ourselves. If you're surrounded by narcissists, then you have most likely left your energy, or they've taken your energy. And so at the end of the night, call fragments. I say, I call back all my fragments, past, present, future timelines, all time, space, dimension, and reality, core belief, soul, history, and genetic DNA levels. I call my fragments back to me. I am whole. I am complete. I am grounded. And I do that every night. And I just close my eyes. It takes, 2 minutes. And I see all my little fragments coming back to me. And I feel the difference, And when we are whole, when we are complete, when we're not fragmented with our energy everywhere, then we're harder to attack. We're harder to be taken advantage of, either in a spiritual world or in an emotional, physical world. So those are my quick little techniques. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop here, because we're at an hour. I've really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed this interaction. And Betsy, I'm so glad that you jumped in here. Like I said, I really would like to do a video a day. I'm not going to promise it, because then that sets me up for self-sabotage. But that is a goal of mine. Even if it's just a 10-minute video, I'm going to try to hop on every day. And if you would like to have more interaction with me, I have a group on Telegram, Metaphysical Misfit. So misfits, because it's, a collective. And so feel free to look us up, and we support each other. We love each other. We make each other laugh. And I'm about to start next week a happy day routine, ritual, whatever, where we're doing, every morning I do yoga, breath work, and meditation with my boys. And so we've decided to do it through like a Zoom, or I do, Google Chat or Google, whatever it's called, because there's no length of time that there's no limit. So if you join the group, then you'll have access to doing our happy day routine together. And I look forward to talking with you. And yeah, thank you so much. I hope this video helped. I hope that it speaks to your heart. I hope it brought some relief and hope. And if you want to know more, just reach out. Have a great night and much love to you all.